So it's been a wild few weeks for Nintendo fans. Gamers, you know what I'm talking about, and it's a great lesson to learn for us leaders. See, Nintendo fans have been waiting for 7 years for an update to their popular Switch console. And a few weeks ago, on April 2nd, Nintendo hosted a launch event, but instead of excitement, fans got sticker shock. And Nintendo is getting criticism and disappointment. Today, we're unpacking the recent controversy that's been surrounding the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. We're going to take a look at the success of the original Switch, the excitement for the new one, and the backlash over pricing. And most importantly, we're going to learn what leaders can learn about responding in moments just like this. So let's go. So let's take an aerial view of what the controversy with Nintendo is all about. See, Nintendo launched the original Switch back in 2017, and it's been a game changer for Nintendo. The Switch is the third highest selling console of all time. They sold over 152 million units. That's a huge deal when you consider the competition, and often Nintendo coming last with many of their consoles. Now, I collect game systems, and out of all of them, this is the one that my 8-year-old plays the most. So it's a really popular system, and with the amazing success and popularity of the Nintendo Switch, you can see why fans were excited about the launch of the Switch 2. But somehow, with all of the momentum that Nintendo had going for it, they managed to mess it up. They messed it up and angered the most important people that were on their side and the most important people that were excited, and that was their customers. And I want to give you a few main reasons so you can just understand why Nintendo fans are angry. First is the price. They're upset about the price. The original Switch was priced at $299. So when you think about the launch of a new console, you would think, well, it's probably similar in price, but it's not at all. The base model Switch is priced at $449. And if you include Mario Kart, the bundle, it's $499. Nintendo fans just feel like they've been penalized for their loyalty. Some called it the Applification of Nintendo, and that's not a compliment to Apple either. And then the second thing that Nintendo fans are frustrated about is the confusion of backwards compatibility. Now, backwards compatibility is the ability to play the original Switch games on the new console. And Nintendo's just been a little vague about how that's going to work and the compatibility with the new console. Now, Nintendo did say that the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible, and it will play both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. So you may think, well, what's the confusion? Well, Nintendo also said that some of the Switch games may not be fully supported or fully compatible with the Switch 2. And to make it worse, they haven't provided a full list of the incompatible games. So here's what this means. Some gamers have invested hundreds or even thousands of dollars into the Switch games. And so to understand if they can take their games to the new system is pretty important. So Switch has said, or Nintendo has said, yeah, the Switch is going to be backwards compatible, but some of them may not be, and we haven't provided a list of what that is. So gamers are just frustrated. And then the third one is what I really want us to focus on today is the company response. This is where I think we're going to learn the bulk of our lessons, is how Nintendo has responded to the outrage. In response of the 50% price hike, here's what the CEO basically said. If you can't afford it, just play the old one. Wow, what a statement. That's like going to your favorite restaurant, sitting down, and then seeing that the prices have doubled. And the chef walks out and says, well, if you can't afford it, just go home and eat a hot dog. Nintendo fans took this, understandably, as, well, we don't need you unless you have cash. And leaders, that's not a good look. So here's what I want us to do. I want us today, in our conversation, I want us to put ourselves in the shoes of the CEO. And I want to discuss how this could have been handled better. How can we better serve our customers in moments just like this when we've made a mistake? So number one, the first thing that we really have to do in order to prevent this or to respond accordingly is to understand your customers. We need to fully understand who it is that we serve. For starters, this entire Nintendo situation should have never happened. and probably wouldn't have happened had Nintendo fully understood their customers. See, the gaming community is one of the most loyal and passionate audiences that you'll find anywhere. They're loyal. Did you know that the global gaming industry is estimated to be worth over $250 billion? Now, to understand that value, that's more than the global movie and music industries combined. But gamers don't just buy the products. Here's what makes it really difficult in this situation when you make a mistake like this is that these gamers aren't just buying products. They're buying into the experiences. They're buying into the stories, into the characters, and for many of them, they've just become a part of their lives. So when it comes to iconic brands and their fan base, there are few that are as big as Nintendo. So, like so many, for me personally, I've grown up with Nintendo characters like Mario and Luigi and Link and Donkey Kong. These characters and these games that they represent, they're timeless. And that's the cool part about gaming is how it spans across generations. My son is growing up loving some of the same games and some of the same characters that I did. So you see, Nintendo has built more than just games. It's built nostalgia. It's built joy and connection and even tradition for many. So when you see it from that perspective, the passion that fans have, you can understand why they get so excited and even emotionally invested when a new console or a game like this is launched. It's also why so many people are feeling disappointed by how the Switch 2 launch has been handled. The pricing, the communication, the lack of customer consideration, it just hits differently when it's coming from a company that people have trusted, they have supported and celebrated for decades. Ultimately, I don't really think it's about the money. I think it's about the feeling that the loyalty that they've shown really isn't being returned. Nintendo thought that they knew their audience, but it turns out in this instance, I think they were wrong. And so the question for you as a leader is, do you know your audience? You may be like Nintendo and think you do, but honestly, it's moments like this that truly reveal how connected we are to the customer base or the audience that we serve. Now, I don't want to dumb this down too much, but if you're going to get to know your customers, you're going to have to go beyond the boardroom. Data is great, but dialogue is better. In other words, you have to go beyond market research and sales numbers and the pre-orders of whatever the product may be. You have to have people see your audience and see what they're saying. See what they're saying on Reddit. Read the comments and the replies on your social media post. Develop an advisory panel that are just made up of maybe real customers that represent your customer base. Ask for their input and all of their feedback. See, this is where Nintendo missed the mark. They were completely disconnected from who their customers are. So you have to understand your customers. And then number two, I think you have to understand your message. The power of life and death is in the tongue. The way you say something, it can either cool the fire or it can pour gasoline on it. So when it feels like everything is about to burn to the ground, it's important to have a well-crafted message in order to put the fire out. So to start, get some internal feedback from maybe different departments in your organization or from different people, different perspectives. So don't just go and include PR or the marketing team. Listen to customer service reps. They're talking to people. Listen to community managers or even the salespeople who are out there with the individuals and talking with the customers. See, these are people who are actually engaged with your customer base. They know the language that the customers use. They know what they care about and what's most likely to help in a time of trouble. Then take this message that you're crafting and just test your message. Test it with a small group of actual customers before you take it public. So you can think of this like the dress rehearsal before the big performance. See, the way you gather the information or the way that you communicate with this group, it'll differ for every person, but there are three questions that I think that you can ask when you collect your information and when you test your message. Again, it's gonna differ the way that you gather the communication information or who that you test this with, but collectively, I think there's three things that you can ask that would apply to us all. And the first thing that I think you can ask is to test your message is, what would you want to hear from us right now? When customers are upset, Ask a little panel of people, what is it that you would want to hear from us? What is it that you would want us to say? What could we say that would genuinely and legitimately address your concerns? How could we bring our sincere desire to make this right and communicate? What would you like to hear? Another question you can ask is, how does this message make you feel? Because regardless, emotions are powerful. That's why movies, that's why media is so powerful, because it pulls at the heartstrings. It tugs at your emotions. And if you can grab their heart, if you can get their emotions, you can convey your information and you can reach them where they have been disappointed. The third question I think is important is, does this response sound sincere or does it sound tone deaf? Does this response sound sincere or does it sound tone deaf? You want to be sincere. You want your customers, you want your audience, you want them to know that you genuinely care and you're trying to solve the problem. You're trying to make it right. So you want to know, does what we have to say, the message that we have crafted, does it sound sincere? And I want you to remember, understand this, you don't have to deliver a TED Talk on day one. You can just release a brief, very quickly, just an honest message up front that says, hey, we heard the feedback, we're listening, we're working on this right now, and there's more to come. And then follow up with a more detailed communication once you've refined your response. But let them know that you're working on it. Just make sure you're prepared, knowing what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. And then to take it a step farther, number 3, you have to understand your voice. Understand your voice. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Your customer base listens when you talk. And what you say, remember, power of life and death is in the tongue. What you say can make or break you. So let me remind you of the power of your voice. Now, you shouldn't need a PR firm to teach you basic respect. Customers are not a means to an end. They are the reason you do what you do. Without your customers, there is no company, there is no product, and there is no profit. And when leaders remember that, they use their voice and their influence differently. See, customers can feel when they're being treated like dollar signs instead of people. And your voice has the authority to do just that. So think about the difference just in the power of your voice that you have when you speak between these two different responses. Let me give you one. Here's a response that you don't want to give. We value all customer feedback and will take this into consideration moving forward. How generic is that? We value all customer feedback and we'll take this into consideration moving forward. Now, listen to this. We get it. You're disappointed. Honestly, that's on us. That's our fault. We missed the mark. Notice the difference. The first response sounds like every other scripted line that every other company uses but never follows through with. But the second response, that sounds like someone who actually respects the people who made their success possible. Because when you really value your customers, your tone reflects that. You're not just brushing them off or hiding behind corporate speak. You're saying, hey, you matter to us. Not just your money, but as a loyal customer who is a part of our brand, you matter. Hey, we missed it. We got it wrong. It's on us and we're working on it. So just recognize, validate the customer's concerns. Let them know you've got a right to be upset. We missed it. We were off base and we want to step in and we want to do the right thing. Just acknowledge their feelings and provide an honest explanation. Your voice has the power to build customer loyalty. It has the power to build trust. It has the power to build your brand. And you can turn a really negative mistake into a meaningful moment of connection with your customers if you're sincere and treat them with respect. Understand the power of your voice. Now, here's the truth. People don't remember every product update, or every new feature that you give them for those products, but they do remember how you made them feel. And if your message to your customers is, if you can't afford the new stuff, then go buy the old. You won't just lose a sale, you will lose the soul of your brand, and then your customers will follow. So to all the business leaders, brand managers, and executives that are out there, I want you to talk to your customers like they matter, because they do. So what do you think about the Nintendo debacle? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Just let me know what you think about what's going on with Nintendo, what they could have done differently, and how they could address their customers. And hey, if you found this helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, in business as in gaming, it's not just about the next level, it's about how you play the game. Go and play, and I'll see you on the next one.